It's a massive hike for any year. But in 2023, with consumers already battling under a cost of living crisis, worsened by increased rolling blackouts, it's looking like a disaster. I'm joined now by the Mayor of Cape Town, Geordin-Hill Lewis. Mr. Mayor, thank you very much for joining us. First of all, what's your reaction to this increase? We've just heard Chris Yellen say they didn't really have much of a choice.
Well, I'm sure my view is not a surprise. The increase is completely unacceptable. It is far too high. It's totally unaffordable for most South African families who are under tremendous pressure at the moment. And it really is a slap in the face, coming as it does in the middle of stage 6 rolling blackouts with no end in sight.
So what are you going to do? What can you do? So, for example, the Good Party has already sent out a press release calling on municipalities to try and mitigate some of this by cutting their costs so that they don't pass on the full increase to their electricity customers. Is this something you as the City of Cape Town is going to be considering?
No, I don't think that that's possible or responsible. When you spend R1 billion a month on electricity like the City of Cape Town does, our monthly bill to Eskom is R1 billion, then an 18% increase is R180 million. Now, if you try to absorb that yourself, you can very quickly bankrupt a municipality, even a municipality as big as a metro like Cape Town. There's just no way to absorb R180 million a month. That is just beyond the means of any municipality in South Africa. I can guarantee you that, because Cape Town is probably the healthiest financially. And that is far beyond our means to be able to absorb that kind of figure. So no, it's terrible. It comes at the worst possible time. It is completely unfair on South African families, and it does, given the scale of the increase, it will almost certainly have to be passed on to consumers across the board. You asked at the beginning of your question what we will do about it. I've just been on the line with our city legal team to look at whether there are options to challenge this legally. There were some concerns raised, as you know, during this public participation process as to whether the proper public participation process was followed. Even I, as mayor, did not know of the opportunity to comment on this proposal until after Nersa had already been to Cape Town. So poorly advertised was the public participation process. So there might be, I hope, fingers crossed, avenue to launch some kind of challenge on that basis. We have to study very carefully the decision that's published by Nersa and look at their methodology, as Chris Yellen has just detailed, but it's certainly not an easy one to challenge, and it's not a good day for South African families. It's a totally unfair increase.
But surely there's something a municipality, especially one that's well run, can do. I'm not saying that you could take off all the increase, but I think that consumers would welcome a lower increase. Is Brett Heron of Good Party suggesting that you basically trim the fat out of the operating costs wherever you can? Even if it comes down by just a few percentage points, it would be welcome. Is that not even something you're going to consider looking at?
Well, we can look at the numbers, but 1% equates to 10 million rand a month. Remember, the numbers here are extremely huge. 10 million rand a month, that's 120 million rand a year, and that's just 1%. We're dealing here with 18.5%. So these are extraordinarily difficult numbers for any municipality to absorb, and I don't really think it's a responsible suggestion to say that that municipalities should bear the brunt of Nersa and Eskom's mismanagement. I don't think that's a workable solution at all. The issue is to fix Eskom.
And we know that that's not going to be an easy process. How concerned are you that your customers are going to start defaulting? Because surely there's a tipping point with these increases. We know that consumers are under severe pressure. Businesses are under severe pressure. Aren't we very close to that point where even paying customers, those willing to pay, are going to go, I can't meet this, I can't do this?
I do think so. I do think we are very near to that tipping point. I think more and more people who have got any kind of financial means will check out of the grid altogether. They will go independent with solar systems or whatever the case is. And even those who are more on the poorer side of the community, they also have choices. We have, for example, seen a huge increase in the amount of electricity theft and non-payment, as you say. So that is a serious concern, and that only increases the costs for municipalities, I'm afraid. So the root cause of the problem here is the complete and utter failure of Eskom and the shockingly devastating consequences that is happening for our country and for South African families.
Yeah, and I mean, the reality is, there are many ways to blame, and they are accurate criticisms. It doesn't help the situation we're in. I think we're at that place now of what can we do? Cape Town, of course, is known for being quite on the front foot regarding alternative power, looking into this wheeling system, allowing customers to sort of sell on their power. And I know that a lot of work has been done in Cape Town. I'm wondering if you're able to fast track this so that you can start to see benefits for consumers. And I'm thinking even of poor consumers, if they can get a solar panel installed on the roof of their home, they might also be in a position to sell power back to the city. How far are you with those plans to try and help customers perhaps get some sort of financial break?
That's absolutely the solution. We have to just move as fast as we possibly can to reduce our reliance on Eskom altogether and buy power from other sources, be that large industrial independent power producers, so-called, or residential homes with a single solar panel, or businesses with large roofs and so on. We've already started the first process in Cape Town of paying commercial customers, those businesses, factories, warehouses, shopping centers and so on with large roofs. We aim to roll that out to residential customers as soon as we can, certainly in the next few months. And in a couple of weeks' time, we're going to market for our second major procurement of independent power, somewhere around 500 megawatts. I just wish that we could get all of those projects built and connected to our grid overnight. Unfortunately, it is a process. They all have to be constructed, they all have to be financed, they all have to connect to our grid. But I have no doubt that days like today just offer us even more motivation and impetus to move as quick as we can to reduce our reliance on Eskom and do our own thing. That's the only way we're going to get rid of these kind of crazy increases.
We know that Eskom direct customers will be seeing their bills increase from April. In terms of your municipality, when will the knock-on Eskom tariff increase? Will it also be from the 1st of April for City of Cape Town customers? Will it come in perhaps from May? And will you keep it to exactly what Nersa has said, 18.65, not a penny higher?
So our financial year runs from July to June, so our increase will only take effect for city customers from the 1st of July. And because we have to pay Eskom the increase, because remember we buy bulk electricity from Eskom, obviously on a monthly basis, we have to pay Eskom from April already, and we only are able to adjust our tariffs from July. There is sometimes a slight difference between the Eskom tariff and our increased tariff. We also have to cover costs of things like streetlights, which Eskom doesn't service in the city of Cape Town at all, and which we pay for entirely. But really, that difference is usually only a matter of a few decimals, and not anything large, and it makes up for the time difference between April and July. That really is the bulk of it.
All right. Thank you so much for chatting to us.